We are so pleased to introduce to you Temple Grandin. I personally am a fan of hers, so let's give you a little bit of background. Mary Temple Grandin, born August 29, 1947, is an American professor at the Animal Science of Colorado State, a best-selling author, an autistic activist, and a consultant to the livestock industry on animal behavior. She also invented the Hug Box, a device to calm those on the autism spectrum. The subject of an award-winning 2010 biographical film, Temple Grandin is also listed in the Times as the 100 top people in the world in the heroes category. Temple, you are my hero, and you will see why.
My name is Temple Grandin. I'm not like other people.
She's an amazing visual thinker.
Are you a scientist?
I used to work for NASA. Can you bring everything you've seen to your mind?
Sure.
Wow.
Can't you?
Excellent work, Temple. Really excellent work.
How'd you figure that out? He can see all around without moving his head.
How is she?
She's good.
You do remember, though, something's gonna set her off.
When was she diagnosed?
She was 4. Temple! I have done everything that I can for Temple.
We know how different she is.
Different, not less.
You have a very special mind, you know that? Think of it as a door. A door that's going to open up onto a whole new world for you. Pick a subject.
Cows? Do they have colleges with cows?
Yes, they do.
Why are some mooing more loudly than others? There must be a reason they're saying something.
Well, I reckon you could get Dr. Doolittle on out here. He probably could tell you.
Mooing. You want to do research and write your master's on mooing.
I can see a shoot just as a cattle will because that's something my autism lets me do.
You wacko.
I know my system will work because I've been through it 1,000 times in my head. My husband read about you.
Miss Grandin, this is a masterpiece.
I don't want my thoughts to die with me. I want to have done something.
It's nothing short of a miracle.
Temple, thank you so much for this opportunity to be on our show, The Global Rescuers.
It's good to be here, and I just want to correct you. It's Colorado State University. You cannot mix it up with the other university in Colorado.
And no, we cannot, and thank you for that. I do want to tell you, you are one of my heroes, so I'm glad that you won that category because the world needs a lot more people like you. So let's get started. When I first watched your film, that's what prompted me to want to contact you. They did a film on your life, and it was fascinating, just absolutely fascinating. So let's talk about one of the reasons why you wanted to get into doing what you do with cattle and changing the way that they treat them across the nation.
I get asked all the time, how do you get interested in things you get interested in? And I'm having lots of students ask me. Well, when I was a teenager, my boarding school had a small dairy. Then I went out to my aunt's ranch when I was 15. I got exposed to beef cattle. You get interested in things you're exposed to. I was in the 4-H horse program, and my life revolved around riding horses and showing them. You see, you've got to get kids involved with animals to get them interested in them. About 5 years ago, I did a book signing at a big Costco. I had to be there for the whole day, and nobody knew about it. So I decided to become a Costco sales associate, and I sold a whole bunch of books. And I just walked up to people and I said, I'm a professor of animal science. I have a book about animal behavior. Do you have pets? And I was shocked to find out that about 20% of young families in South Denver had no pet of any kind. No gerbil, no cat, no fish, nothing.
Wow.
And I think it's really sad. You've got some kids growing up today, and they have no animals in their life.
That's very interesting that you're speaking about that because the Global Rescuers did a show on the 4-H events, and we got to attend it, and I just think that it is a great way for animals and children to bond and to learn about each other. So I commend you on that. So what has changed since then in Colorado with people having no pets?
Well, I just did that one. I was there at that Costco store for the one day. I mean, I never went back there and did another event there. But I was kind of shocked when I walked up to parents of young children, they'd be the right age for pets, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old children, and about 1 out of 5 families, there were no pets in the house of any kind.
Wow. Well, let's hope that has changed, and I'm sure with all the exposure that you're getting and people that know about you, that you are influential in that area. So let's also talk about, when I first spoke with you, you told me that you had a message from dogs that humans needed to hear. Can you tell me what that particular message is?
Animals are not things. They have a nervous system. They feel pain, fear, they have emotions. I did a paper in 2010 for an animal science meeting where I went over the neuroscience research that shows very clearly that animals have emotions. Prozac works on dogs. If their emotions were totally different, Prozac would not work on dogs. They have the same neurotransmitters. And neuroscientists such as Jack Panska have outlined the basic emotional systems. Their fear, their separation distress. You leave the dog home alone and it chews up the house and whines. Separation distress. You have seeking. That's what makes an animal go out and do things. Like some Labrador retrievers, all they want to do is chase the ball. Another Labrador retriever makes a very good service dog for somebody in a wheelchair. He's content just to lay quietly by the wheelchair. And then you have rage or anger. Then you've got mother-young nurturing, the oxytocin system. And you have play. And then obviously, of course, you have sex. and research on animal emotions, it's been known for years that animals have emotions. But it's been over in the neuroscience literature. One of the big problems they have in science is people stay in their silos. You got neuroscience over here, veterinarians here, animal scientists here, dog trainers over here, and people don't tend to communicate across the silos.
You're a woman. You are, sometimes women aren't taken seriously in what we do. So how did you convince the men in the cattle industry to even hear you?
There were some good people in the cattle industry. And there were some really good top managers at some of the ranches and the feed yards. And there were some bad things done to me. Bull testicles were put on my car, but that was not the manager. That was the cowboy foreman. That was the guy just below the manager. Those were the people that did the dirt on me and did the most discrimination. And I showed off my work. First of all, I got a good reputation for writing accurate articles in the Arizona Farm Ranchman magazine. If I covered a cattle meeting, I covered it accurately. And then I designed some cattle facilities, and they worked. And then I'd show people pictures and drawings, and I basically sold my work. Yes, there were some people that discriminated, but there was a lot of other good people that did not. It's a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work, and dealing with the cowboy foreman was bad. And I had situations where I had a great manager, and then the cowboy foreman was messing up my system.
But you kept going, and I think that's very important. If you have a good reputation and you're accurate in your reputation, you will be taken seriously. I learned that from you, so thank you for that lesson.
It's really important to try to get information that's accurate. And one of the things I'm concerned today, with all the stuff on social media, is people always get mad, write stuff on social media, and they don't take the time to actually find out what is the accurate information.
And thank you for saying that, because that is so correct. They'll put a post up there and 50 comments that are all negative, and the post isn't even correct. So thank you for that.
No, and there's a shallowness. You've got Google right there at your fingertips, but people are not bothering to go in and search scientific literature, even though now those databases are available, the summaries of scientific articles are available to the public.
So let's talk a little bit, for those that don't know you, what the changes were in the cattle industry that you did create.
Well, one of the biggest problems when I started in the 70s is people handled cattle very roughly. I mean, electric rods all over every animal, yelling and screaming and having them running. Things are much better today. Handling is a whole lot better. My student, Ruth Woolly went out and did a survey of 28 feed yards on cattle handling. Now, I was pleased to say that the electric prod use was under 5%. Boy, back in the bad old days, it would have been 500%.
Wow.
There are some things that have really improved, and handling is one of them. And people are beginning to realize that good handling really is important, and calm animals, handled calmly, are going to be more productive animals.
Very nice. And also, too, for those that don't know you, you are an autism activist. So can you speak a few words to people out there that want to know how to help their own children?
All right, first of all, autism is a very big spectrum. And in 2013, the American Psychiatric Association changed the diagnostic guidelines. So autism is going all the way from Silicon Valley geeks and nerds, Einstein who had no language till age 3, and at the other end of the spectrum, you have somebody that remains nonverbal and with many handicaps, even if he gets really good treatment. When I was 4, I was still nonverbal. My speech came in really slowly. I was lucky to get some very good early educational intervention. If you have a child that's 3-year-old child that's not talking, I don't really care what he's diagnosed with, but if he's not talking, he needs to get 20 hours a week of one-to-one teaching words, teaching turn taking. You gotta work with these little kids. They've got to learn how to wait and take their turn. Another thing that really helped me in the 50s, table manners were taught with teachable moments. If I stuck my finger in the mashed potatoes, they'd say, use the fork. They would scream no. They would give the instruction, use the fork. And then when I was 13, Mother had me do a little sewing job. My ability in art was always encouraged. And one of the things that saved me in school was the hands-on things. Art, sewing, woodworking. If I had not had those hands-on activities, it would have just been horrible. I think one of the worst things the schools have done today is taking out all the hands-on activities. And those activities teach practical problem solving. Because maybe you don't have all the materials. Well, then maybe you figure out how to do it with, some different materials. That's practical problem solving. Another thing with these fully verbal kids on the autism spectrum, or maybe ADHD or dyslexic, they have got to learn working skills. And that needs to start in middle school with things like walking dogs for the neighbors, maybe at the community center or at the church. They're an usher, they set up chairs, but it needs to be something that's on a schedule. And then as soon as they're 16, they need to get a real job. And they need to get experience with working before they graduate from high school and college.
And I would think that pretty much covers any child, but particularly autistic children. And if you're a visual communicator rather than a verbal, then you're going to suffer academically.
I had to be tutored in math, and I was horrible at algebra, and the only way I got through math was in 67 when I had to take college math. It was not algebra. See, education has its fads. And back in 67, it was finite math, matrices, probability, and statistics. And with a lot of tutoring, I was able to do that. But the world needs the visual thinkers, because when you work with animals are sensory-based. They don't think in words. They think in pictures, sounds, touch sensation. The emotions in animals are similar to people, but their memories are not stored as words. They're stored as sensory impressions. Now, there's some advantages to visual thinking. What I find is the normal mind overgeneralizes. They'll say things like, what do you do about autism? What do you do about a dog that's crazy? Well, I don't know what you do about a dog that's crazy. I have to ask a lot more questions to learn about that dog, find out what he's doing wrong.
And in closing, is there anything that you need to say to the public that's watching to either some positive message or something you've been dying to get out there?
Well, I want people to understand, more about how animals behave. Oh, one little tip. Don't pat your dog like this, stroking. Stroke them. Make it feel like the mother's tongue.
Very, very, you know what? That's the best advice you could have given in this interview. Thank you so much for your time, Temple. I look for the day that I can meet you in the future in person.
Okay, well, thank you for having me.
That was all the time we had with Temple Grandin. We're so grateful that she could join us on the Global Rescuers. This is Kimberly reminding you, donate, volunteer, pay it forward, and you can be a global rescuer too. We'll see you next time. Thank you for viewing today's show. If you like what you saw and you would like to support this show or other causes, please go to influencethecause.com. Once you're there, please subscribe, donate, or pledge. And to also watch full-blown shows, please click on any of these links. For it is in giving that we receive.